Dear students, welcome to the lecture series on company law. Before I discuss the subject in detail, I would like to explain to you that how the company form of the business organization emerged and what were the objectives of incorporating the law. So, company law is made up of two things, a company and the law. The law which governs the company is known as the company law. If we look into the business history or look into the historical perspective, then we can say that there are three major forms of the business organization, and that too on the basis of ownership. Number one is the sole proprietorship form of the business, the second is partnership form of the business, and the third is the company form of the business. Before starting the discussion on the company form of the business, it is necessary for us to understand what was the sole proprietorship form of the business. Company form of the business organization, which we are seeing in today's society, has evolved from the partnership form of the business. The disadvantages of the partnership form of the business gave birth to the company form of the business, but disadvantages of the sole proprietorship form of the business gave birth to the partnership form of the business. So, if we want to dwell the past, then we will find that today's form of the business, which is very much popular, and that is the company form of the business, but it has got its roots in the sole proprietorship form of the business. Sole proprietorship form of the business will be the part of my discussion on the company form of the business organization. So, first of all, I will discuss the sole proprietorship form of the business with you. Now, we will discuss the sole proprietorship form of the business. This form of the business organization is in existence since the dawn of the civilization. In this form of the business organization, one person manages the complete affairs of the business. He takes the decision regarding the activities of the business. He manages the capital, either he borrows it, or if he owns the capital, he can start the business. So, this is the simplest form of the business organization, in which one person looks after the complete activities of the business. He is free to hire and fire any employee in the organization. He is the one who can earn the complete profit by the decision he takes, and he is the one who suffer all the losses. So, he bears the risk and enjoy the fruits also. Anyone who is competent to enter into the contract can start this form of the business organization. We do not require any special legislation to run this business, but this type of the business have got certain disadvantages also. It has got only a limited capital, but unlimited liability. Unlimited liability can put a question mark on the future of that man as well as on his family also. So, this is the greatest disadvantage of this form of the business organization, but he have got a limited managerial capability also. Therefore, with the passage of time, it was realized that this form of the business organization will not be useful for the changes which are coming in society. As you know, with the development of the economy as well as the development of the trade and the business, this sort of the business started losing its importance, but it has not lost its importance completely. Even in today's business scenario, this form of the business organization has not lost its sheen, S-H-E-E-N sheen. if still this type of the business is conducted, performed by certain individual. One person who looks after the complete activity of the business, therefore, we can call it that there is always a one man show in this business. But with the passage of time, this form of the business organization started attracting certain disadvantages, and because of these disadvantages, the another form of the business organization emerged, and that is known as the partnership form of the business. After understanding the sole proprietorship form of the business, now we will discuss the partnership form of the business organization. When I discuss the sole proprietorship form of the business, and at the end when I touch the limitations of the sole proprietorship form of the business, I mentioned that in sole proprietorship form of the business, a person has got a limited managerial capability, unlimited liability and limited capital also. And with these disadvantages, it was realized by certain people in the society that this business will not be useful or will not serve the need of the society. So, when the changes started coming in the society, changes at the social front and changes at the economic front, certain people came under the one umbrella and thought of starting the business. And this is how the partnership form of the business emerged. You may find it that in our day to day life also, that a one person may have a finance with him, but he does not have the technical capability to run the business. On the other hand, we may find a person who is technically expert, but does not have the finance with him. A person may have a finance, but does not have the managerial capability at his level. So, it was realized that by the certain people that they should come under the umbrella and should start the business. So, in partnership form of the business, people start this business by an agreement, and whatever the profits emerge, they share the profit according to the profit sharing ratio, which they have decided at the time of entering into the contract. I mention it that sole proprietorship form of the business is not specifically governed by any legislation, but partnership is governed by the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Partners are known individually as partners, collectively a partnership firm, and the name under which they start the business is known as the firm's name. But this form of the business organization also started attracting certain disadvantages. Certain limitations started creeping in within this form of the organization. This business is popular only at the local level, and a limited area can be covered by the partnership form of the business to cater the need of the society. So, there was a limited capital also. So, these disadvantages started coming in partnership form of the business, and by the time there was a complete change in the trade and commerce and industrial revolution took place. Certain technical aspects started coming in, and it was realized that this form of the business will not be suitable to run it in the present scenario. So, this business gave birth to the company form of the organization. Before I take up the discussion on company form of the organization, I would like to remind you that company form of the organization has emerged out of the limitations of the sole proprietorship form of the business and the partnership form of the business. Change in the trade and commerce and the change in the business industry started coming in. Business started becoming a more and more complicated, and it was realized that now the limited capital and limited managerial ability, unlimited liability will not give the answer to the problem. So, we started the company form of the business organization. When we will discuss the company law in great detail. I will mention you what is the meaning of the company, how it is formulated, how it functions, how it is managed, and what are the other technicalities which are with the company form of the organization. For with this, we end our discussion on the origin of the company form of the organization. We started with the sole proprietorship, and then we went to partnership, and then we went to the company form of the organization. As you know, this form of the organization is very popular nowadays. It is popular because of certain advantages, certain characteristics it has got with it, and that we will discuss when we will talk about the company law, and each and every unit which has been prescribed in your syllabus deals with the functioning of the company. And when we will discuss the each and every unit in detail, then we will come to know how company functions, how it operates, how it is established, how it is managed. With this, we simply end our discussion on the origin of the company form of the organization. Now, I will tell you how the law came into the picture to govern the company form of the business organization. In brief, I will mention the origin of Companies Act. The first time the British government realized that the Indian company should be governed by the Enact. Earlier, it used to happen that companies get registered in Britain and used to do the business in India. But with the passage of time, when it was realized by the British rulers that an act is needed for the Indian companies also, so they enacted a law, and that was later on codified, and it became Indian Companies Act 1850, which was applicable for the joint stock companies in India. But with the passage of time, the Companies Act got amended. The act which we see today have got its origin from 1850's Act. The Indian Companies Act 1956 is applicable in whole of India. After understanding the origin of the Companies Act 1956 and its roots and its historical perspective, what was the necessity of enacting the law to govern the companies? Indian Companies Act 1956 is applicable for the joint stock companies in India. There are objectives of incorporating the law. The first and the foremost objective is that we want the activities of the company should be governed in a proper fashion. The company should perform the activities in a proper manner. Therefore, we have enacted the law. What are the activities which are performed by the company? We will discuss when we will discuss the subject in great detail. The second objective is that we want that a company should maintain a minimum standard of integrity and transparency. That is why we have enacted the law. We have enacted the law because we also wish that sometime majority of the shareholder should not do the mismanagement and operation in the company on the minority shareholders. So, company should run in a proper fashion. We do not want that the shareholder should do any activity which is against the norms of the society. As you know, the shareholders are the true owners of the company. So, therefore, the law was enacted to protect the not only the shareholders, but the protect the society also. By incorporating the law, we have also given certain powers to the government. Whenever the government realizes that company is not performing the activities in the interest of society, the management of the company is not fruitful for the nation or for the society, the government can intervene. We have enacted the law. Another object of enacting the law is that we want the company should give the full disclosure of its activities. The true and the fair picture of the company should be projected in front of the stakeholders. Stakeholder is entirely a different word, shareholder is an entirely different word. Since the large number of the people are associated with the company form of the organization, because the shareholders, when they invest the money and that money comes to the company from the all parts of the society, we want that their investment should be properly looked after. So, we have enacted the law to protect the large number of the shareholders of this country. A government can intervene when government find that company is not working according to the norms of the company law. These were the objectives of enacting the law, therefore, we have enacted the law. So, this was the basic logic of studying the law also or enacting the law also. For us, this paper has been designed so that when we are dealing with the company, we should properly know what is the law and how the company functions, what are the rights available to the shareholders or what are the rights available to the government, what are the rights available to the directors of the company. Now, I will tell you the certain things or certain points which have been mentioned in your syllabus, and that too in units. I will take up each and every unit and will give you a bird's eye view. I will tell you what is covered in each unit. So, with this we are giving a pause to the objective of the company law and will start a discussion on each unit. The subject matter of company law is very vast, but if we see it from the syllabus point of view, it has been divided into the 9 units. The first unit contains corporate personality and kinds of company. Unit number 2 deals with the promotion and incorporation of companies. It will include the role of the promoter, what are the documents which are required for promoting a company, what is the certificate of incorporation and what is the certificate of commencement of business. Unit number 3 deals with memorandum of association, article of association and prospectus. If any activity which is performed by the company beyond the memorandum of association, that will be known as the ultra vires. So, this is the fundamental and the most important document of the company. The article of association is that document which is required to support the memorandum of association. It is the second most important document. The article of association tells about the internal management of the company. This document is framed by the company to incorporate the bylaws for the company. Prospectus is that document which is issued to the public to collect the deposits or to subscribe the capital. When we will discuss this particular topic, then we will also study that what are the cautions which are to be taken by the people, those who issue the prospectus. This document should not contain any misstatement or it should not contain any omission, so that people can be misled by this document. This document is a document which tells the true picture about the company. When we will talk about unit number 4, which deals with the share capital, member, share capital transfer and transmission, we will study what are different types of the shares which can be issued by the company, what is the share capital, what are the types of the share capital and how the shares are transferred and how the share can be transmitted. When we will talk about unit number 5, which is related with the capital management, borrowing power, mortgages and the charges and debenture, then we will talk about the how the company's capital is being managed. Share capital is not sufficient to meet the demand or will not be possible for the company to meet the objectives, then company borrow the money from the market. Mortgages, it means the company sometime mortgages the assets and get the loan on that. Debenture is also a certificate of loan which the company has taken. Unit number 6 deals with the directors, managing directors, whole time directors. As you know, company is an artificial person. It is run by the board of directors. Directors are the individuals appointed to run the company. How the directors are appointed, how the directors can be removed, how the directors can be dismissed, what will be the remuneration of the directors, what are the powers of the directors, what are the liabilities of the directors. So, when we will talk about the topic of directors, the total discussion will rotate around the directors and their position in the company, because company is run by the directors, it is run by the managing director also. So, when we will talk about the unit number 6, which is related with the directors and the managing director and the whole time director, then we will focus on the rights and the duties and the power attached with the directors. This is a so important a unit that from here we will talk about the management of the company. The earlier units which I had discussed, like unit number 1, unit number 2, unit number 3 and unit number 4 and unit number 5, they were related with the company, what is the company, how the company can be formulated, what are the documents to be submitted, when how company gets the capital from the market. After incorporating the company and getting the capital from the market, we require human beings to run the company. Next unit is related with the company meetings, kinds, quorum, voting, resolution and minutes. And when we will talk about this unit, we will say how the affairs of the companies are conducted. We will study the types of the meetings. Generally, the shareholder meetings are of 3 types. One is known as the statutory meeting, other is known as the annual general meeting, the third one is known as the extraordinary meeting. But there are directors meeting also, there are creditors meeting also, there are debenture holders meeting also. In meeting, we pass the resolution and those resolutions become a binding force for the company. And when we will talk about the resolution is also of 2 types, one is known as the general resolution, another is known as the special resolution. When the affairs of the companies are conducted, we had to have the quorum. The meaning of the quorum is that minimum number of the people, those who should be present, then we can start the proceedings in the company. So, quorum will tell us the what is the minimum number of the people required to conduct the business in the company. We will talk about the voting and the minutes. Minutes means the what are the important happenings which have taken place in the company. Next, when we will talk about the unit number 8. So, unit number 8 deals with majority powers and minority rights, prevention of operation and mismanagement. When I discussed the objectives of company law, there also I mentioned that company law is enacted, it is framed to protect the minority shareholders, because sometime it happens the majority people try to exploit the minority shareholders or minority rights. Therefore, when we will talk about this unit, then we will study what are the rights which are given to the minority people to protect themselves. A company has to be run on a proper way, its business has to be conducted in a fair and true manner. So, we do not want that there should be any operation and mismanagement in the company. So, when we will study the unit number 8, we will talk about what are the methods which are suitable for us to protect the company from the mismanagement. We will define what the mismanagement is, we will define what the operation is and what are the remedies available to the shareholder to protect themselves from the operation and mismanagement. In the last, when we will talk about the winding up and the kinds of conduct, then we will talk about how the company can be wound up. Now, if you look at the unit number 1, from there we started defining the company, and if you look at the unit number 9, we are talking about the winding up of the company. From unit number 1 to 9, since the inception of the company to the winding up of the company, we have covered all the units. A company is born in unit number 1, company is going into liquidation in unit number 9. So, in between this, whatever the units or the whatever the literature we have studied, it is related with the affairs, it is related with the management of the company. So, when we will talk about the winding up, as you know, winding up means company at this stage starts wind up the business. Then we will talk about what are the ways through which the winding up affair should be conducted. In winding up, the assets of the company were sold, the list of the liability is prepared, assets are realized, the money is realized to pay the debt of the company. After paying the debt, if there is a surplus or the profit or the assets are there, then those assets are distributed to the shareholders. But it is a very long process. Sometime, as you know, it is not easy to conduct the winding up of the company when I discuss the sole proprietorship form of the business with you. It is very easy to wind up a sole proprietorship form of the business, but it is a time consuming affair when we are doing the winding up of a company. So, in winding up, the liquidator will be appointed. So, this was the introduction for unit number 1 to unit number 9. So, in today's lecture, I have mentioned that how the company form of the business originated. I started my discussion on sole proprietorship form of the business, then I discussed the partnership form of the business, then I discussed the company form of the business, then I discussed how the company law originated, and then I discussed what are the objectives of formulating the company law, and then I discussed with you that what I will teach you. Now, we will take up each and every unit in great detail. Today, I have given you a very brief view about the syllabus and its contents. In my next lecture, when I will start the unit number 1, we will start discussion in great detail. With this, I say thank you